Good morning, Kelly.
Hi.
Hi. Can you hear us?
Hi. Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, good. All right. So you've done it again, my friend. You have found another story where you just can't believe it, and you think you're reading an article from The Onion, but this one is true, and it sets place in St. Francois County. Where is that? That's down south by Farmington, right?
Yeah, it's Farmington. It's basically an hour and a half or so south of St. Louis.
What
maybe
happened?
a little further.
What happened?
So I've written. This is the second column now I've written on a particular judge down there. Her name is Judge Sandra Martinez, and she takes court costs very seriously because those court costs help pay for the St. Francois County Jail and the prosecutor and the parole officers and the clerks and everything. Basically, this is what we went through in Ferguson, but in St. Francois County, and it's the same thing, but it's poor white people being abused by the court system in order to raise money for a cash-strapped county. So what happened in this case, there's a woman named Victoria Branson who all the way back in 2002 and part of 2003 didn't make about 6 months' worth of child support payments, according to the court record. She owed $162 a month for her son who was living with his father for a period of time. The father kills himself, and the son ends up coming back home or living wherever he lived, but the mother did not have to pay child support anymore. But the court brought a case against her in 2004, and they found her guilty, but they put her on probation. And they said, pay your back child support, but you also have to pay all of these other court costs that we've stuck on. Well, she didn't pay. Now, my column doesn't, defend her on that, but she didn't pay. She went on and lived her life.
Hold on a second. Point of order. She owed $5,000 in back child support, but the court costs were how much?
The total that she owed was about $5,000. All that she owed that was child support, according to the court records, was, and you can do the math, 6 times 162. And yet the total bill got up to $5,000. The rest of that was court costs, and that $5,000 is key because that's what made it a felony case. So she doesn't pay. She goes on and lives her life. And over a period of time, the judge, every 90 days, has these hearings that says, has she paid to fulfill her probation? No, she hasn't paid, and she didn't show up in court. Add some more court costs on, warrants for her arrest. This went on for years and years and years. The woman lived with her live-in boyfriend. They were practically husband and wife in Springfield. He tells me that they never got notice of these hearings. So the costs keep getting higher and higher. Eventually, a couple of years ago, she gets picked up in some sort of domestic situation, and oh my gosh, there's a warrant out for her arrest. Bring her in, put her in jail for back child support. So fast forward to June. The son is now 30. This child support, the dad is no longer on the earth. The son's 30. The court costs have been raised higher and higher. And she puts her in prison for 4 years for a probation violation because she hasn't paid this old child support and all the court costs to a dead man. Frankly, to the state, because they're going to use that money to pay for the jail, to pay for the judge salary, to pay for the clerks, to pay for everything else. This judge has done the same thing in similar cases at least twice and been overturned by the appeals court and the Missouri Supreme Court because you can't put poor people in jail simply because they can't pay. And that's what she's doing. Basically, a condition of probation that she puts on everybody is you have to pay your court costs by X date. And if you can't, you're going to jail. Well, most of these people that I'm reading about and hearing about in court cases are poor folks who are living on disability, and they can't possibly afford to pay. And so they're going to go to jail. And that's what's happening right now. So the rest of us, all of us, are now paying the tax bill to put this woman in federal prison or in state prison because one judge wanted to collect a few $1,000s in court costs.
Yeah, we did the math, our crack team. It was just under $1,000 she owed in back child support, which, as you say, she didn't pay to her dead husband. And now she's sitting in jail. So as of now, she's still in jail?
Yes, she's in Vandalia.
And any reaction to this article? Anybody take up her cause because of the story?
I have heard from multiple attorneys who want to pick up her cause. So my guess is if it hasn't happened already, somebody is going to make contact with her and file, I believe they call it a Rule 40 challenge, some sort of post-conviction relief. Somebody will, I believe quite confident based on the fact that this judge has been overturned before for the same thing, somebody's going to file to free her. But the saddest part of the story, I heard from another attorney down there yesterday. They said there's just numerous cases like this, that in that county, it is legendary. If you're poor and you get caught doing anything, you're going to jail and possibly state prison because they're going to tack a bunch of court costs on you, and if you don't pay, you're going to prison.
You know,
and it's the same sort of thing we dealt with in Ferguson, and Missouri Supreme Court has to be aware that this is going on and do something about it.
You know, your point is well taken. You can't write every single time. First of all, the stories, it's hard to find every single story like this. But this is one story. This might be rectified because you shed light on it. But how many others who we don't hear about end up going through this because there's not the main reporter for the local newspaper writing a story on it every time?
Oh, there's so many. I got a call from that prison. One of the things that happens when you write about people in prison is they talk. And so I've done that a few times. And so I get letters and calls from prison a fair amount. But I got a call from somebody who is a cellmate of Victoria Branson, who was also put there by Sandra Martinez, who also has a sad story to tell. And I'll be looking into that case as well. There are so many of them. And here's the thing. This is the thing that constantly comes up when I write about people in North St. Louis County who have to deal with this sort of thing. Everybody gets that there's an underlying violation here, whether it's a civil violation of traffic law or a criminal violation. Nobody's saying that it shouldn't be against the law to drive without insurance, that you shouldn't pay your child support. All of those things are true, but at some point the judicial system has to have a sense of justice, and it can't use court costs as a way to put people in jail, because what that effectively does is it says poor people don't have the same access to our judicial system than wealthy people do, and that's wrong.
Well, and a debtor's prison doesn't make any sense. Why are we paying for these people who can't pay their bills in the first place? It's a never-ending revolving door.
Well, and it makes poverty worse in that area, because what you do is you take people who might be contributing to society in some capacity, and instead taxpayers are taking care of them completely, and you keep them even in more poverty. It's, the courthouse may have really nice stuff, but the rest of the community doesn't because of this kind of policy.
Yeah. Also, we're cutting taxes, but we're really just sticking it to the few individuals who, get caught up in the system. It's a vicious cycle. Tony, we'll look forward to the follow-up at stltoday.com. Thanks for checking in.
Thank you.
Tony Messenger, every Tuesday and Thursday here on the Big 550 KTRS.